Hi, this is Lynn Baker. I'm the chair of the Jazz Studies and Commercial Music Department at the University of Denver Lamont School of Music. Welcome to the Shape Method. This is a lesson on a chapter from the Shape Method for Jazz Improvisation. Hi, and welcome to Chapter 21 of the Shape Method. In this chapter, we're going to deal with the rhythmic concept of metric modulation with subdivisions and extracting quartal materials from super-impositions of triads. So the Shape Method defines metric modulation as a technique to change the tempo of the pulse via a common rhythmic division or grouping. This means there must be a common division or group between the two meters, and the meaning of that division or group will change at the metric modulation, and that will alter the pulse. This chapter will discuss the relationships between eighth notes and triplets, but it could be any division. So, triplets are pretty easy and fairly common in jazz metric modulations because remember the underlying feel of a moderate tempo jazz tune has a triplet division. So if you have, say, quarter notes at 120, you have triplets on each beat. If you maintain the speed of those triplets and then reconfigure them to be eighth notes in the new tempo, you'll get a tempo that's 1/3 faster. It'll be a tempo of 180, just like this diagram. Once you've modulated there and want to get back, you just reverse the order of the relationships. The eighth notes over here now become triplets, and the pulse slows down. So that's metric modulations with subdivisions of triplets. It could be subdivisions of any note. So if you want to really stress your high math skills, knock yourself out. So a very common contemporary sound is using material built on fourths. And it's kind of, well, how do you do that when you're talking about a shape method that only deals with triads? You do it through the concept of super-imposition. I'm going to show you a graph now that has several of the common superimpositions that generate interesting quartal materials. Another concept that is frequently associated with quartal materials is what we call gravity shifts or drive shifts, and you might call side slipping. So if you want to create a gravity shift in the shape method, you take a fixed, say we're talking about quartal materials, a fixed idea that's a quartal material, and shift it up a half step so that when it resolves, those are gravity resolutions back to where it's going. If you want to create drive resolutions, you take a particular quartal idea and shift it down a half step so that the resolution then drives back up. Here's a couple of examples of those sorts of gravity and drive resolutions. So interesting material today, metric modulations with subdivisions, quartal materials, and gravity and drive shifts of material. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the chapter. To go deeper into the ideas, purchase the Shape Method. You'll receive detailed information, more examples, listening suggestions, composition and performance exercises, and appendices of public domain jazz language, and an explanation of why the blues scale works, and more. Get chops on the concepts by purchasing the Etude Supplements Volume 1 and 2. Please subscribe to the channel and tell your friends.